Hey, thanks for checking out my video. This is Alpha Digital Asset Management, basically giving you a rundown of the ultimate Bitcoin investment strategy, how to go from 0 Bitcoin to 10 Bitcoin plus safely and securely. This is a blog that I wrote. It's on Medium. It's on my website. You can check it out. It's at the very bottom of my website, alphadigitalassetmanagement.com. You click this, you can read the whole thing. It's also over here on Medium. Basically, this is just a guide I wrote to help people to go from having 0 Bitcoin to getting 10 or more Bitcoin. And I lay out the best strategies that there exist out there to people to get into Bitcoin. I know a lot of people think like Bitcoin is up a lot. Why should I get into Bitcoin? It's overvalued or it has no value. If you think it has no value, you shouldn't buy it. But people who want to buy Bitcoin understand why it has value. It's digital gold, protect against inflation. There's only 21 million that exists. It's a new version of money that I think is the best version of money that exists. But you know that if you want to get into Bitcoin, so you've probably already got that figured out. This guide is here to help people who don't know the best strategies but want to get into Bitcoin while practicing the best strategies. So I basically kind of lay everything out. And like I said, people think Bitcoin is overvalued after we just hit a new all-time high at 44,900, almost $45,000. Actually, we broke that. This is when I wrote that. We went over that. We went to like $48,000 or close to that. I still think Bitcoin is undervalued long term. I believe Bitcoin can go to $500,000 per coin, and I get that number. I show you right here in the article by taking the market cap of gold, which is 12 trillion, and you divide the market cap of gold by 21 million, the number of Bitcoins that exist, and that number is 571,428. So that is what I believe the price target of Bitcoin is, which is over $500,000. So people who are getting in right now at like $50,000 or less, they still have 10x potential to get into Bitcoin going to $500,000. So I think that Bitcoin is a great investment to get into. So going more into the article about the best strategy, if you own 0 Bitcoin, the best strategy to get into Bitcoin is called dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin, which basically means you're buying Bitcoin on a consistent basis, whether it's daily, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly. You are continuously putting your money, your savings into Bitcoin. So like every time you get a paycheck, you should put some money into Bitcoin. That's what I tell people. And you kind of want to be irregardless of the price. You just want to keep that constant stream of money going into Bitcoin, because then you're getting it when it's cheap. You might be getting it when it's high. But the goal is to buy when it's cheap. If you are watching the price good, like if you're buying daily, okay, then it doesn't necessarily matter if you're just buying daily, you're accumulating the satoshis. But if you are trying to buy the cheapest Bitcoin you possibly can, you get paid every 2 weeks, you get a little bit of money every 2 weeks. You wait for Bitcoin to get cheap after you get your paycheck, and then you buy as much as you can. That's a pretty good strategy. It's called dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin. And the goal is just to try and lower your average cost of how much it costs you to buy Bitcoin. So right now, let's say one Bitcoin is $50,000, but it fluctuates between 50,000 and 30,000. You want to try and buy as much Bitcoin as you can, as close to 30,000 as possible, because that's like the local bottom. And then as Bitcoin goes up, you accumulate your wealth and it grows up in terms of dollar amount. But your goal is just to accumulate as much Bitcoin as you can. Like it says at the top of the article, the goal is 10 Bitcoin or more for people. Basically, I got to that by, I think people want 10 Bitcoin because when it's worth 500,000 per coin, that's going to be $5 million. So you have 10 Bitcoin, each one's worth 500,000. That's $5 million. And that's like a good retirement. That's what people should look for retirement. Most people are happy to have like 1.5 million when they retire. I think you need a little more than that. And I think Bitcoin is a great way to get there. Uh, I also tell people that I think Bitcoin is going to outperform the S&P 500 by a lot. So why would you dollar cost average into the S&P 500 when you can dollar cost average into digital gold, which is going to offer a way higher return on your investment over the course of the long term? So dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin literally is one of the best investment strategies that exist out there. And Coinbase and Binance US and Gemini, they all offer like a service where you can tell it to buy $10 worth of Bitcoin every day, or buy $100 worth of Bitcoin every week, or buy $1,000 every month. You can totally do that. To increase this strategy a little bit, what I have people do sometimes is I have them just max out their BlockFi account, which if you don't know what BlockFi is, they pay 8.6% on USDC, which is a stable coin. So every time you have money that you want to invest in Bitcoin, whether you think it's high or low, you just put it into BlockFi at 8.6% with your USDC. And then when Bitcoin dips, you take your interest from that account and you buy Bitcoin with it. Or you can even take some of your principal that's in USDC and buy Bitcoin with it. The entire idea of this is just it's money that you're gonna put into Bitcoin, but you think Bitcoin might be a little high and it could come down. So you're saving your money at 8.6%, and then when it comes down, you convert into Bitcoin to get as much Bitcoin as you can for as cheap as possible. I don't tell people to trade. I don't think you should be trading Bitcoin. What I think people should do is buy and hold for the long term. But if you can buy at cheap times, like on down days or when Bitcoin has had a correction, that is the best strategy to get as much Bitcoin as possible for as cheap as possible for the long term. It's also known as buying a dip. It's a very common strategy known as buy the dip. I recommend it for people in a safe way by using the 8.6% with BlockFi to convert that money into Bitcoin when you think it's a good chance. If it's down, but it's going to go back up. So yeah, that's the simple strategy, dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin for the long term. On top of this, you're going to want to offline your Bitcoin to a physical device, which I think I got one right here. If you're not familiar with, post this out real quick. If you're not familiar with physical devices, they can be a little bit tricky to use at first when you're first getting into them. But you definitely want to keep your Bitcoin offline on one of this guys. This guy is actually empty. This is just kind of like a demo one that I use and show my friends and have people practice with. There's nothing on this one. This one's just fucking empty. But this is what you want to get. This is a good one, Ledger S Nano. There's better ones out there on the market now. They're all really secure. Make sure you get from like an authentic source. It's really not hard. You're just sending your Bitcoin from one wallet on the exchange to a wallet that's hosted on this device. So that's pretty simple. You want to keep your Bitcoin secure by keeping it offline because exchanges are notorious for getting hacked or people's accounts are getting hacked. These things are more secure, but there's also risk. If you lose your password to this thing, you can kind of mess up and lose money. But I have specific strategies to help people keep their device safe. I tell people never put your device in social security or safety security deposit boxes. Those are dangerous. You don't want to mess with those. Keep it at home in a safe, spread out your seed phrase. There's 3 pass phrases in here to get back into your Bitcoin if you get locked out. I tell people to keep those 3 passwords spread out. And then you have 3 versions of your password, but you want to make sure you keep it in a place where no one can see them or no one finds them, because if they get that passphrase, they can take your Bitcoin. So yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of getting into Bitcoin from going from 0 to 10. I know it's a daunting process. You think Bitcoin's super expensive. The nice thing about Bitcoin is you can buy small bits of it. Like it's decimalized up to 8 points at like 8 decimal places. So you can buy a fraction of a Bitcoin. You can buy 1/100th million of a Bitcoin. So like there's 100 million Satoshis inside of one Bitcoin. You can buy 1 Satoshi. Well, I mean, I guess you really can't buy 1 Satoshi because there's no brokerage that does that. You have to buy $10 worth at least. But $10 worth of Bitcoin gets you a substantial amount of Bitcoin. Actually, let's see. $10 into sats, called Satoshis, sats for short. That's basically what people call it. Okay, yeah, so right now you can get 2,140 Satoshis or sats for $1. That is really, really pretty good. So the goal is just to stack Satoshis. So if you have to do 10, so 10 you'd buy like 20,000 Satoshis for $10, which is awesome. You get 20,000 Satoshis for $10. Maybe one day in the future, every Satoshi will equal $1, and then you just made yourself a decent chunk of change. I believe one day we'll be able to spend Satoshis as if they were like dollars, if they were like dollar currency. So yeah. So give my website a check out, alphadigitalam.com. The AM is for asset management. This is Alpha Digital Asset Management. Basically, I'm here to help individual investors get into Bitcoin for the long term, buy and hold, dollar cost average. We have more strategies on top of that. I told you about the BlockFi thing. Keep your money with BlockFi at 8.6%. Wait for a Bitcoin dip and then convert some of your savings into Bitcoin for the long term. We've got more advanced stuff. spot shorting, leverage shorting, selling covered calls. This is stuff that's kind of beyond the entry level person's thing. The entry level person just needs to do dollar cost averaging and BlockFi, and then securing your Bitcoin offline, and you can accumulate a lot of Bitcoin for the long term. Oh, and BlockFi, once you have some Bitcoin, they actually pay you interest on your Bitcoin up, like it's 6% up to 2.5 Bitcoin. So your first 2.5 Bitcoin on that site are gonna be paying you 6%, which actually is a really good annualized return when you consider you're getting paid in Bitcoin. They also have a way of getting paid from your USDC, your 8.6% USDC interest, get that collected in Bitcoin. So it actually increases your percentage. Well, I guess it does decrease if Bitcoin goes down, but long-term Bitcoin goes up. So it's going to increase your percentage over the long term. Yeah, like it says here, 10 Bitcoin is a great goal because 10 times 500,000 is 5 million. 5 million is a great retirement. Yeah, check out the site, alphadigital.am.com. You can contact me. My phone number is on the site. Email is on the site. Drop your contact information. We'll reach out to you. We have more advanced strategies for people who already own a lot of Bitcoin. So if you're more interested in more advanced strategies, like I said, spot shorting, leverage shorting, and then selling covered calls are 3 options that we offer to people who already own a decent amount of Bitcoin. But for people who own 0 Bitcoin, I'm basically here to help you sign up for exchanges, get your physical device, start dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin based on your income, and whatever debt you might have. If hopefully you don't have any debt, but if you have debt. So yeah, this is basically what I help you with. Go ahead and check out this blog. You can find it online on my website and on Medium. It'll be on Twitter as well. If you have any questions, comment below on this video or reach out to us. I'm more than happy to help you. Off the top of my head, I can't really think if there's anything more to talk about. Oh yeah, so shitcoins, altcoins, I can't recommend to an average investor to buy altcoins. What people like to do is they like to buy altcoins because they see they're less than Bitcoin. They think they can go up just like Bitcoin, but then they don't own enough Bitcoin. So when Bitcoin goes up, they're like left holding a bag of a shitcoin. What I tell people is get yourself a good amount of Bitcoin, get yourself a good amount of Ethereum, and then maybe you mess with altcoins. But your whole goal with altcoins is to sell your altcoins for more Satoshis or more Ethereum than you put into the altcoin. So they're essentially just basically little mini Ponzi schemes, little mini pump and dumps. Some of them do have more merits than other, but a lot of them are kind of just, maybe it turns into something, maybe it doesn't. They're kind of like early stage investments, and early stage investments, like 95% of them fail. So you just kind of got to know what you're getting into before you get into altcoins. I really just think the average person, the normal person who doesn't own any Bitcoin or only owns a little bit of Bitcoin, should just dollar cost average into Bitcoin, secure it offline for the long term, and be happy. And then using BlockFi is kind of like a little bit of a cheat code, but you're also giving up the custody of your Bitcoin. So you don't necessarily want to do that, but you can. And then leverage is for professionals, just like shitcoins are for professionals. You don't want to mess with leverage trading. I do help people with leverage trading, but that's for higher level investors. Like leverage insurance, like on your long-term position, you can like hedge your downside risk by buying insurance essentially with leverage short positions. But that's probably a lot of gibberish to most people who are watching this video, so I don't really want you to practice any of those strategies yet. That's more for a sophisticated investor who owns 10 Bitcoin. Like once you get to 10 Bitcoin, I'll help you with these strategies. Actually, once you get to 1 Bitcoin, I think you're ready to get advanced to the more advanced strategies. But your goal should be to accumulate and hold on to 1 Bitcoin, because that 1 Bitcoin, which is 50,000 right now, will be 500,000 in the future. So yeah, it's a pretty good investment return. So yeah, like I was saying, this is Alpha Digital Asset Management. We're all about Bitcoin, love Bitcoin, been in Bitcoin for a while. Just here to help the average person who doesn't understand what Bitcoin is get into Bitcoin. And like I said earlier, I believe Bitcoin is better than the stock market, better than any ETF, better than the S&P, better than Russell 2000, better than the Dow. Bitcoin is physical gold. I believe it's going to a $10 trillion market cap or more, probably more. And I think Bitcoin is going to be accepted globally. And it's just a great version of money. It's stable, it's consistent. You can't print it out of nothing. There's only 21 million Bitcoin that are going to exist. The government just keeps printing trillions and trillions out of nothing. And it's just kind of sad to see. So people got to protect their net wealth, their net worth from hyperinflation, because hyperinflation will literally eat away your money. And you definitely don't want that. So yeah, check out the blog, check out the website, alphadigitalassetmanagement.com. We are here to help you get your money right, get into Bitcoin. There's going to be links on this blog for you to sign up for exchanges and BlockFi, and then also links for bank accounts that are really good to get into Bitcoin, because like JP Morgan kind of doesn't let their bank work with Coinbase, which kind of sucks. Maybe it's gotten better, but I use Chime Bank and Ally Bank with my exchanges because the exchanges accept them and the bank accepts them as well. So it works really good both in and out. I've never had any problem putting money in or cashing money out. So yeah, that's why I like Chime and Ally, even though they are online banks. So don't expect to talk to somebody, but they work properly and they work good for crypto. And then physical devices, there'll be some links for you to get your own physical devices. And then I'm always here to help talk strategy with people and help people get actively investing into cryptocurrency buying. The whole goal is just to be a long-term investor, buy and hold for the long term, and you'll be good. There's not much more else than that to do. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Have any questions, reach out to me. And yeah, I'm very excited to speak with you and talk with you. Thanks again for tuning in. This is Alpha Digital Asset Management, here to help you get your Bitcoin right. I'm excited to talk with you. Thank you very much.